Welcome to the Get Your Life Show. I am Charmaine Johnson Fuller, life strategist with The Charmed Life. And I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to hang with me and a friend. So the Get Your Life Show is all about helping working moms squash the overwhelm they feel with all of the moving pieces in their life. Each episode shares actionable steps to improve one major life area that's going to help you to create the life balance you need to live a life that you love. And today I am hanging with one of my favorite people, Angelica Miller. I call her like the planning architect or like the day architect. Like she gonna get you all the way together on how to create a day plan that's not overwhelming, that's not like filled with a whole bunch of gunk and junk. But I'm introducing her when I normally have her introduce herself. Angelica, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you serve, all that good stuff.
Hello, everyone. Well, how can I put this plainly? I'm a life alignment strategist, and what that means is I help coaches and consultants and women in a service-based business strategize their goals, their processes, and their schedules to create work-life balance. Work-life balance is so important for all of us due to having kids, having some of us have day jobs, plus doing a business, and you can feel crazy. So my whole premise of my business is based on creating work-life balance for you.
Super cool. So when women normally look at their schedules, especially us working ladies, when we normally look at it, it normally starts off with what do I have to do? And are always the what's next type of thing that happens. How would you suggest that women kind of start that off? Like, do you have them scheduling at night? Like, how do you get your schedule to a place where you can kind of compartmentalize those things, if you know what I'm talking about?
So when you're scheduling, and first of all, your schedule, the first thing you should have in your schedule is your morning ritual to get you together. That's not looking at anybody's emails. That's not looking at what your to-do list. That's you putting yourself in that right mind. That's you maybe reading the Bible. That's you meditating. That may be you exercising. That may be you reading a good self-awareness book. Whatever that is, you need to spend at least 30 to 45 minutes just on you to get yourself ready. And you need to make sure you're penciling that in. So to get yourself ready for the day, I like to, every night, I plan at the end of my work day, I sit there and I plan what's going to happen the next day. The first thing that's on my planner is my morning ritual, what those things are. And that's what I do first. Then I ease myself into the work day. But your work day also, well, not just your work day, your day needs to include your time with your family first, needs to include when are you taking lunch, needs to include what are your transition times between meetings. You have to make sure you're creating balance within your day before anyone else can take it over. And that starts with you pre-planning. So when other people start saying, hey, I need, you can say, no, no, no. Or you could say, yeah, I could do this, but not today. I could give you these particular days to get it done. But you have to build your balance, your work-life balance in first, and then add those other things in second. You and your family come first.
Yes.
And then everything else comes second.
Yes, yes, and yes. And you talked about, I talk a lot too about those transitionary pieces and how important they are. And it feels almost counterintuitive when you start doing it, right? Because it's like, what do you mean take a break and not just go straight through? Like, isn't that going to take more time? Like, but tell them why transitionary is so important.
Transition time is so important. So say your morning, you start off, I'm talking your work day now after you did your ritual. You start off at 8 o'clock in meetings. You maybe have an hour and a half meeting. After that hour and a half, you need to bank in at least 15 to 30 minutes of time. One, you need to digest what you just went through.
Yep.
If there are notes you need to take or things you need to do, you need that time for your mind to wrap its head around that. That transition time also helps you be more creative. That means you step away, even if it's for 5 minutes, and you do some stretches. or, you know, you may listen to some music, whatever that transition piece is for you to help you bring your self back to center. That's what you need to do, because when you're creating a schedule that's back to back, you're in an 8 o'clock meeting to 9, then 9 to 10, 10 to 11. When do you have time to go to the bathroom? When do you have time to take a break just to get some coffee? When is your me time in there? You're giving your all to everyone else, but you also have to give time to yourself during the day. So my hard stop for all of my clients that I work with, you have to put transition time. That is for you. That is to fuel you back up. That is not to say,
not to plan something else to do in
no,
between them 30
no, it's not to go look at more emails, because you're going to schedule time in your day to actually look at emails and respond back to text messages. You're not going to, every time your phone dings or your computer ding, that doesn't mean, ooh, I got to take care of this now. No, you plan time in your schedule to actually do those things. And that block of time is only for that. Then you transition again, and then you start your next project or your next meeting.
And here's the gag. The gag is, even if you do schedule back to back, your brain has not, like Angelica says, your brain has not left the last activity that you've done. So you think you're saving time and you're scheduling back to back, and it's taking you 15, 20 minutes to even remember, oh yeah, I'm not filing anymore. I'm in this meeting and we're talking about, you know, whatever the meeting is about. And for the first 15 to 20 minutes, you're like,
Yep.
And you're
being in the office, when we used to be in the office, people would come up to my desk and you're in the middle of work and they're talking to you. And I literally have to say, can you give me just 2 minutes so my mind can catch up? Because I'm in the middle of working on something, you're talking about something, and that transition piece where you're sitting there looking at them like, I don't know what you're saying. And it's true, because your mind has not caught up. It's still working on what you were previously working on. It hasn't caught up on whatever that discussion is. So that transition piece is really there for you to center you back and get your creative juices flowing so you're ready for that next assignment.
That's like one of the two of the biggest things that if you didn't, like if you were like, oh, she just said that. The first is the morning rituals. That's so important. You know, one of the earlier interviews that I had was another coach that also talked about having that space for yourself in the morning. One, like you said, it makes you important. It puts you first before you start dishing out your energy every place else.
Yeah.
That's going to let you know kind of what your baseline is for the day. If you start the day doing other people's stuff, you're going to be like, oh my God, I always feel like I'm putting out fires. I'm so tired. I don't know why I'm so exhausted. I don't get it. It's because you're constantly feeding into what other people, even if they're cute little people or handsome big people are only going to come in and take as much of you as you're going to give. So you have to be sure to give to yourself first, because without giving to yourself first, then there's really nothing else to give to anybody else. And you end up feeling resentful and any other type of negative feeling you want to add in that, you end up feeling.
You feel exhausted. You feel like, oh, my name is being called constantly, mom, or Angie, Angelica, or whatever your name is. You feel like everybody's taking from you. And if you don't give yourself that time and let your family know, even if you have to get up an hour before everybody else to do this, let your family know, this is my time, so I'm there for you the rest of the day. So right. I'm 100% the rest of the day.
I ask my kids, do you want nice, helpful mommy, or do you want pissed off mommy? Which one do you want today?
Yep.
And, you know, so now they understand I kind of converted my closet like into a prayer meditation closet. If I'm in there, if something's not burning down, don't come for me.
Yep.
Don't come tell me good morning. Don't come tell me you love me. Leave me be until I come out.
Because even in the afternoon, I have found with COVID and being in the house constantly and not really going anywhere, their mid part of the day, I literally have to take a half hour to go lay down and meditate. I may not hear the full meditation, but I need to recenter my mind, because I'm feeling exhausted. I'm starting to get irritated. And I realized a few months ago that I need that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And now I plan that in my schedule. And then sometimes when we going back to transition piece, sometimes my transition piece, so I start as early as 6 a.m. By 9 a.m., I'm really like, okay, it's almost a full day, a full half day for me. I now do 15 minutes of yoga. I stop what I'm doing. I go stretch for 15 minutes. And then when I come back and sit at the computer, I feel so much better. Like I did something for me to get my mind off of everything else. And that only took 15 minutes.
Yeah. And that's really important, to plug those pieces into your day first, and to plug in what's really important to you and what's going to take you to the next step of whatever area of life that you're working on. Because I know you talk a lot about life integration, not necessarily, oh, this is your business calendar and this is your home calendar.
Right.
And I love that too, because there's only one you.
Right.
So
there's only one you, and you need to be putting those two pieces together. That's why it's so important for you at the beginning of every year. I start out, I plot what my vacation is. I plot different, I know I need certain doctor's appointments at certain times within a certain month. I plot what my kids' schedule is, what sports are they doing, what doctor's appointments do they need, plot what those important key things for my husband. You need to plot your family's life first in your calendar. That way, when you're looking at it and you're starting to add meetings, and you're as you're looking at it, well, this meeting can't go here because I have this doctor's appointment. It's going to take a little bit longer. That's where you become strategic with your life, both lives. That's your business and your personal life. That's where you start being really strategic of your schedule and creating that work-life balance. But you have to start with what those key things are for you personally, and personally for your family. It cannot start with what your business needs. That's secondary.
Because here's the other thing, what I learned the hard way: when you attempt to schedule from a career business point of view first, your family is like water going through a rock. It will find a way to disrupt that. And versus making yourself upset and going, oh my God, I can't believe this thing with the kid interfered again, blah, 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 blah. Like she said, I schedule my family first, and then I go around that. Because for me, even though I love what I do and I love how I serve,
right,
if I have a kid that is supposed to be at fencing lessons, or a child that's supposed to be in art classes, I have those things well in advance. I know every Saturday between 10, actually because of the drive time, so in between 9 and like 2, I don't schedule anything. And like if I'm doing something business-wise, because I know that I have to travel going and coming back, and that's like a 45-minute to an hour drive. So I know I'm not going to schedule anything at 12 when I get home, because I need to get it together. But take your kids, all the school schedules are out, plan all that stuff out. Most of the sports have their stuff. Get that together.
Parent-teacher conferences are out there. Everything's out there. And one thing I know, a lot of women say, well, I don't have enough time to get things done. You also have to be really smart about utilizing that downtime. If you're so I used to take my son to football practice, and I wouldn't leave. I'm one of those moms who don't leave. I just want to make sure everything's okay. So while he's practicing for 2 hours, I might be sitting in the chair, in the car, or in the bleachers. I'm getting some work done. I'm getting work done that, maybe I need to write a proposal. Maybe I need to call someone. Those downtimes. And that's even so when I go to the doctors, I always make sure I have something there just in case, because you go to the doctors, they sit you in a room for 45 minutes. That's 45 minutes I could be doing something.
Right.
So I always have my laptop and other things with me to use those downtimes that you have a little bit better. It's not to say you have to use the whole time, but you can get a lot done sitting in the waiting room for 45 minutes waiting for your doctor. You can get some different things done. So you just got to be little strategic about those times too. Don't say, oh, I got a doctor's appointment and that's not, nothing. What downtime in there can you use to send an email to one of your clients that you need, or record a video for one of your clients to do, just to give them an update on what's going on with the work you're doing for them.
Even learning opportunities.
Right. Yes.
All of us are working either with some sort of coach or in a program or something of that nature. Some of us are still even in school.
Yes.
And these are the perfect opportunities. I know I normally use doctor office time as like learning opportunities. I'll pull up whatever platform that I'm learning on, and I'll go through that. Like those 15 minutes, like even if it's going back over something that I already did, is helping to reinforce. And like we were talking, my son had fencing camp. He was there for 3 hours. It just didn't make sense for me to travel home for an hour and then travel back. So I just stayed for the whole 3, but I had my laptop, I had a corner over there, and I got so much done. And when I got home from fencing, then I could chill out, because it wasn't like, oh my God, I was at fencing for 3 hours reading a romance novel. No, I was there with my headphones in, ignoring the other parents, getting things done. And you have to learn how to use those pockets wisely. Some of us are social media junkies. I am one of them. But I have to look at, okay, is this getting me closer to what I said I was going to be doing for the day? And what happens if I blow this off to just be social? Like, how far will this throw me back? And you really have to have these conversations with yourself as you're doing things that might be out of alignment with where you said you wanted to go. And you have to be honest and go, okay, this is not taking me there, so I need to flip it around and get busy.
Yeah. Even for our social media junkies, you can plan that time to say, oh, 6 o'clock to 6:45. That's the whole time. I'm going to get 45 minutes in today of just mindlessly strolling through social
everybody
media.
Repeating themselves anyway, so you really missing nothing.
Yeah. So you can schedule that time in, but then now you got that in. You shouldn't feel jittery anymore because you didn't get to look at social media. Now you can focus on something else and do those other key things that you need to do.
So how would you suggest that a woman starts, like once she has her rituals in place and she's taken a look at her day and, she's planned those transitionary pieces into her day with the things that she said she needed to get done. What are her next steps beyond that? How does she keep this going? How does this look for her? Is it easy to keep up? Is it a lot of work?
It's easy to keep up. One thing you have to do with your schedule, when you're planning your schedule, you need to also have your goals sitting next to you. You need to be mindful of what your goals are, your big goal that you're going to chunk down to smaller to-do lists.
Right.
You need to have that with you every time you sit down and plan. So every Sunday, I plan my next week to make sure everything that I need to get done is in there. But I'm mindful of what are my 3 top goals that I need to get done. Every day you should be looking at what are those 3 top goals. Say you need to do a couple of, create a few blogs. So Sunday you're working, you're planning your schedule out. Well, you need time to write those blogs. So now you need to look at your schedule and say, I'm going to take a Monday, I'm going to do an hour and a half. You're going to block the hour and a half just for you to write. And maybe you need some day 2, maybe Tuesday, you need another hour and a half just to go through all those edits, because you may be creating maybe 10 blog posts. You need to be making sure you're blocking out the time in your schedule to actually get work done. Your day cannot be filled with meetings. Should not be filled with meetings. You need to make sure after you take care of that family piece, you need to be making sure you are plotting out times of things that you need to get done. So that means if you're writing content, you should have bankable hours there. If you need to take, say for your blog post, now I need to get some photos. I need to take some photos. Well, then you need to bank in time just specifically for photos. That's not part of the blog piece, content piece that you're creating. That's another to-do piece within your goals that you need to complete. So you have to compartmentalize what you need to do and only focus on that one piece when you're planning out your schedule. It might seem overwhelming at first, but once you get your flow, it gets very easy. You need to bank in time where you're actually doing your client work. That's all you do within that time. If it's 2 hours that you're just doing client work, then you need to figure out Monday through Friday, where are you putting that 2 hours in to get client work done? You have to make sure, and I press this a lot, put the time in to get work done. It cannot be back-to-back meetings. That's unrealistic, because by the end of the day, if you're back-to-back meetings and by 5 o'clock, you are exhausted. And that's when you start getting frustrated. Right. So that's when you start getting frustrated. And then you're feeling guilty because you didn't get a meal on the table. You're feeling guilty because you're not spending time with your kids. Well, you planned your schedule wrong. You didn't provide work time for you to get work done within your schedule. So my thing is, make sure your goals are with you, because those are the important things you need to get done first. Everything else comes. So family first, then what you need to go get done. Second, your goals, and then the other people's things, everybody else's.
Yeah.
You have to have that flow in there. And you have to, if you look at my electronic calendar, you will see there is time built in there for dinner with my family. There's time built in there for time with my family. And then there's time for me to get work done, client work done, create content, shoot a video, whatever that is banked in my calendar. But if you look at your calendar for the week, and if it's 90% meetings, you're doing something wrong.
Even if it's 90% business stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that you don't have a traditional 9 to 5. If your schedule is 90% creating content and just kind of doing things around your business, then unless it's time for that, because you do have times where you're launching, or there are busy periods and things of that nature where you are going to be spending a disproportionate amount of time on business things than you would with your family. But trust, if it's your everyday life all the time, you are going to burn out quickly if you're not already burnt out. And that's where a lot of the mom guilt comes from, because there's not a clear plan in place. It's just kind of like, okay, these seem like the things that need to be, these are the things that are hollering the loudest, so I'm going to do these.
Mm-hmm.
And so we tend to go in that mode where these are the things hollering the loudest. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm not sure how it plays into this whole big role called my life. I just know that somebody's telling me that it needs to get done. And so that's what I'm doing. Or it's all about other people's expectations as well. This is something that I feel like is expected of me, so I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Versus you knowing what your goals are, how you want your life to feel, and what you want it to look like.
Yeah. And you hit on a good point too. So if you're in coaching, any type of service-based business, when you're launching a product, when you're putting on an event, you need to plot those, and you need to be strategic about how much lead time do you need prior to that event to create the content, to do your sales campaign, to do all those things. So one thing too, this is a good time of the year, really coming up. October is the time of the year where you should be starting to strategically plan for 2021.
Yep.
Start in October, because you're really starting to ramp down 2020.
Yep.
So every October of every year, it's the time you start planning for the next year. How many launches are you going to do? How many new products are you going to put out there? What are those things? So, and what is the exact date you plan to launch them? Then you have to backtrack a little bit and start planning the things you need to do. So it may seem overwhelming, because a lot of times people they're just doing what they need to do that day.
Yep.
And then they feel by the time they get to their launch, they're exhausted. They feel like they missed pieces, blah, blah, blah. But if in October you start planning, okay, I want to launch 4 products next year, just saying, then you need to plan that out. So 2 of them, you shouldn't have 2 within the same month. You need to plan that out a lot better, because if you do that, yeah, bye-bye family. Right. See y'all next
year. Be in a
year.
corner like this.
Right. Yep. You need to really be strategic. You know, October of every year. And one thing I really express with my clients is take a weekend away for yourself. Go get a hotel, lock yourself up in a room, treat yourself to room service, go out to dinner or whatever. But that weekend, it could be a Friday and a Saturday, back home Sunday. But take that time for you to do your planning for the next year. And you should start in October.
That's something that I learned from Kim.
Okay.
That, you know, they would go away and do the planning for the next year. I'm like, that's pretty dope, because especially if you are a working mom, tell me what, like, you don't even have to answer in the comments below, but you know what happens when you try to do anything and you have kids at home, no matter the age of the kids, it doesn't matter. I have a 19-year-old who will be like, mom, like at the weirdest moments, and just as you're in your stride. And if you have younger kids, and that means you're making breakfast, that means you cleaning up somebody's mess, somebody needs you to play with them. You know, taking a weekend away to do that is so stress-free.
Stress-free. And if you're a solopreneur, you still need to do it. And you actually, if you have a team, you need to do it together with your team.
Yeah.
Y'all need to get together as a group. Pick a place, everybody travel there, and plan out what is going on with your company for the next year. That way, everybody's all aligned. Everybody knows what's going on. No one has these questions about, what are we doing? Why is she doing this? You know, what is this direction? Everybody's working on that together. They're working on the goals for the business together. They're, you know, working on that vision for the business together. They're deciding, you know, understanding what strategies need to be put in place for the products you want to launch. If you want to do speaking engagements, you need to do that together as a team. So if you have a team, you have to pick, and I usually do those for 2 days too. Working with clients, there are some clients that I have put these on for them. But you're strategic about what that day is and what that day involves. And yes, we do those. You put transition time. Everybody needs breaks.
Yes.
So back to transition, everybody needs breaks. But if you are a solopreneur, you need to go on your own and do this. And if you have a team, you should be doing this also with your team. Because it creates a better bond. And two, everybody's in the know of what's going on. And you're not, you know, well, they should know this. Well, they shouldn't know this because they weren't in a meeting with you, and they could have told you, well, that doesn't make sense. Maybe we should look at it this way, you know, because they're in there the day in and day out with the nitty gritty of the work.
Exactly. Yep. Like this is some really good stuff, as far as, you know, a lot of people, like they put on these events in December and January, which is when most people think about their goals. Well, that's when they think about the goals from the prior year that they forgot. And now it's time to set new goals, but they haven't really taken a bite out of the old ones. So that's a good measure. And I normally would go, I hope the hotels and stuff are back together by November, because I normally go in November because my husband's off.
Okay.
So like after I do like Thanksgiving, then that weekend, because like he's off and he doesn't normally have to go back until like Tuesday, I do like that Friday night versus Black Friday in it. I do that Friday night, that Saturday, and I come home like on Sunday, and we're able to get back into the swing of things. So like if you have a spouse that works and happens to be off, like use that as a guideline. Some of us may not be able to get off in October, but like if you can find that you can get off maybe in November, do that. You know, even if it's December for you, do that. You know, do what works for you most definitely, and putting yourself first. That's why I always say, love yourself, love your family, love your business. Put yourself first. What things you have for you, get your family in there. What things need to be done for your family, and then add your business pieces in there, because the common denominator, like Angelica and I said, is you. And so if you're not taking care of you, if you're not taking care of your schedule, if you're not taking over the power and becoming empowered by your schedule. If you're saying you feel overwhelmed by it, then trying some of these things out will help to give you more clarity as to perhaps what your next steps are. Because a lot of the times your overwhelm is because you're not clear. And she gave you lots of fabulous steps to be clear. And you get lots of clarity by taking time to yourself and peace and silence every morning. Like, that's so underrated, is that quiet time for you just to be in the morning, which is really hard. I don't want to say it's hard. It's definitely a challenge for moms, especially if you have younger kids and you're always feeling like there's something to be done next. So take these tips, make time for yourself, get all of your life and year together. School year calendars have, in Michigan, I know other states have been started school, but in Michigan, all the schools have their year calendar out, you know, when this virtual thing is, when that, what's going on. So you have that. You start looking at vacation spots for next year. You know, even if you're not planning it to the T, just at least have an idea of maybe what you want to do for yourself and what you want to do with your family. Weekend mom by yourself getaways without planning are the most fabulous pieces of self-care
ever. Yep.
Ever. To go to a hotel for a weekend and just like lay in bed and not be anybody's mom or wife for a weekend is better than a year's worth of therapy sometimes. And so finding those ways that you're going to take care of you, because without you, none of that around you will exist.
Right.
Trust me, husbands are great, but they will fall apart with kids, especially if you got multiples and you're the one who takes care of them all the time.
Yeah.
Angelica, where can they find you and how can they hook up with you?
You can find me on website at angelicagmiller.com. Actually, your social medias are all angelicagmiller.com. So I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn mostly. I'm getting ready to start dabbling in Instagram, but you can definitely find me on my Facebook page, Angelica G. Miller, or on LinkedIn at the same name. And then my website has a lot of information out there for you. If you want to schedule a free discovery call just to talk through your strategy, you definitely can do that through my website. Those links are there. And actually the link is also within my Facebook page.
And I also have those links down in the comment section below so that you can definitely reach out to her. She does some awesome Facebook, I call them like really quick time saver types of videos on how you can begin to incorporate some of these things that we talked about today in your life. She has the email sequence. I'll have like all of that, where it can take you through some of these steps to begin building this platform for yourself, this foundation, and not always feeling like you're chasing something. You know, that's the biggest thing, is that you're kind of always feeling like you're chasing something. So
I just want to remind your listeners that your schedule should be telling you a wonderful story. It shouldn't be telling you a nightmare. It should be telling you a good story. And you're in control of writing that story. So just take a step back and look at it. And if it's hectic, you have the power to make changes. You have the power. And you're a business owner, so really no one can dictate to you what you should be doing in your schedule.
Exactly.
So, and one piece I want to leave, if someone asks you for time, give them 3 options. Say, I have this, and if someone asks you for time, can you meet this day? And you say, no, I can't. Say, I have these 3 available options. Which one do you want to take? It's okay to say no, but if you feel like guilty saying no, give them some options.
Yeah.
And then let them take one of those that work for you.
Yes.
But your calendar should be telling you a wonderful story, not a nightmare.
Yep. It should make you smile and feel hopeful and not stressed and pissed off.
Right. Yep.
That was a good one. Your schedule should be telling you a wonderful story. Wow. I like that. That should be, I'm going to get that put up on my wall someplace so I can remind myself when I'm planning stuff. And what's my story today?
Right. What is your story?
That was a lovely little piece of diamond that you just dropped off at the end of this.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to have all of Angelica's information below. Please connect with her because I know some of y'all having on the struggle bus when it comes to your schedule. And she can get it all the way together if you work with her and allow her to do that. She has some really awesome tools. She even has a group that's really dope. So just to get all of that together, I'll have all of her info down in the comment section below so you connect with her. But other than that, thank you so much for joining me today on the Get Your Life show. Remember to love yourself, love your family, and your business. And until next time, I will see you ladies later. Bye.